This is a tutorial on how to paint and accessorize a rustic metallic looking prop, such as raised staff. These are the materials you will need. However, if you are planning on creating a full cosplay outfit afterwards, keep all of the remaining fabric to do so. These can all be found on Amazon. First, start off with the dried staff and paint a full coverage base layer of black acrylic paint. When you are doing this, make sure you have enough paint on your brush to enter all of the cracks and accidental uneven dips on the staff, but not too much that it causes pools of paint and then will dry lumpy. Make sure you get into all of the grooves that may have occurred due to the mark makings, as because this is the darkest shade of paint, it has to be in the deepest part of the sculpture for it to have the shadow contrast effect. You can do this by painting in multiple directions and swirling the paintbrush into the gaps. Once you've painted everything black, including the top and bottom of the staff, leave it to dry for about 30 minutes. Mix the silver paint with some of the black acrylic to create a darker silver midtone to start to highlight the majority of the mark makings and shapes on the prop. To do this, fully coat your paintbrush in the paint and then brush it on the side of your paint palette to remove the majority of the excess paint. This then enables you to lightly brush over the top of the staff surface, catching the most highlighted and raised points with the paint. You can do this by painting in big strokes up and down, as you're not trying to get this tone of paint into the creases, as you want those to remain dark to create the shadow effect. When this has been completed and has been allowed enough time to dry, add some more silver paint into your palette and start to create more of the highlights. For this part, start to consciously choose which parts you want to dramatically highlight the most. To further exaggerate this, you can rinse out your paintbrush and add solid lines of silver paint to the centre of shapes. At this point, if you wanted to make it look more rustic and realistic, you could lightly brush on some brown to add to the metal finish of this piece and make it look like it was rusting. However, this is not necessary and just depends on the aesthetic of the prop. Keep playing around by adding highlights until you're satisfied with the effect you've created. Once you're ready, set it to dry before cutting out the scraps for the handle of the staff. Because these are only thin layers of paint, it should roughly take about 15 minutes to dry. Take the leather and unfold it until it's only folded in half. Then take your scissors and start to cut a 1-inch strip up the folded crease. This then unfolds and will become the strap that is attached on both ends of the staff to be the shoulder strap and enables you to wear this prop the same way the character does. To make it easier to knot onto the staff, add a slit on both ends so you can tie it around the staff and knot them together. Keep cutting off a variety of leather strips to experiment with size and placement as you go. Then take the bandage material and trim off pieces in the same and opposite ways to the elastic. This again gives you more options to experiment with fabric manipulations and effects. Again, trim off strips of material out of this cheesecloth cotton. If you have any similar looking fabric at home and you're not planning to do the full costume, it might be easier to try and be resourceful rather than buying this material, as you'll have a fair amount of leftovers. When you have enough material to tie it onto the staff, start attaching the shoulder strap. To make sure the material doesn't fall off, I recommend you do double knots on all of the pieces you attach. For this, you can use a reference photo of the original raised staff to be more accurate with the layering of the fabric. However, you can start to just alternate between the light coloured fabric and the leather until it covers enough of the staff to be used as a soft handle part. Explore different ways of distressing the fabric to make it look more realistic. A technique I used was scraping the scissors along the material, causing holes and the edges to fray. This adds a rugged wear and tear effect that the staff has. Once you're happy with it, try it on and make any last-minute adjustments and personalise your piece. This is how mine turned out in the end. And thank you for watching.